Hello? Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Oh, Jesus. I had some playback in my ear. So, apparently even when I move out to a new place, people still like to leaf blow right when I'm starting the stream. So I apologize if you hear a fucking hum, but some dude decided he wanted to vacuum his lawn or something. I don't know what the hell he's doing, but it's not the best time to be doing that, dude. I got shit to do. So anyway, let's get talking about the Bitcoins, and we'll start out with the macro view as always. You took the chair with you? Yeah, dude. It's like my brand, carrots and squeaky chairs. So let's go ahead and look at the cloud. Just normal settings, or default settings rather. And we'll take a look at it, and then we'll discuss it. So first and foremost, cloud is kind of seeing some chop. Not the clearest signals right now. So, you know, we see the price is trading below the cloud, but we do see a Kumo twist here, which means that, you know, it's kind of seeing some like sideways consolidation sort of thing. And the Chiku is about to enter the cloud, which means that we could get some bullish pressure here, which would be nice, because if we squeeze through, let me get my pen here so I can do some doodles. This could be a nice time for a little bit of bullish pressure to step in, because we see this cloud twist here. That would be a really great time for the price to sneak through and find, you know, some nice support here, and, you know, maybe revisit the Kijun here. And that would, you know, that would simultaneously push the Chiku into the cloud, which could, you know, have us seeing maybe a retest of these values up in here. Right now, it's kind of just meandering, honestly. Volume is just like piss poor. It's just going straight down. And when we look at the higher time frames, like something like the 2-day, we see, you know, the price is getting pushed down by the 2-day Kumo. We go to the 3-day. You know, we're seeing some some resistance by the Kijun. Nowhere close to seeing a cross on the Kumo here. So, but one thing that is, someone in my Discord pointed this out. One thing that is slightly in the bullish favor is the weekly cloud. So let's take a look at that. Right now, so this is the blue guy. This is the Tenkan. This is the Kijun. And we can basically think of them as like the fast and slow moving averages. You know, sometimes people like to look at the 50 and the 200 EMA. This is the equivalent of the 50. This is the equivalent of the 200. And right now, we're coming right into the weekly Kumo. No twist here, so no bearish twist. No bear twist. So that's good on that front. And something that we can look at historically is the way the price has interacted. Oh wait, let me look at Bitstamp actually. BTC USD. Bitstamp. And something very interesting to note about this is that historically, whenever we've run into the weekly Kumo, we've actually ridden upward on it. That's not to say it indefinitely rides upward on it, but it doesn't just break through sideways. So here are two examples of that happening right here. So here's one, here are two. This is, of course, the last bull market, or last bear market. Last bear market. And, you know, we see here that the price just very similar to the way the Kijun is interacting. And I'll show you. Let's compare. Let's put them on the same screen here. So if we look at the way the cloud interacted historically, you know, volume was consolidating. It ran into the cloud. It bumped up, sat on top of the cloud, and then fell through. Which is kind of the situation we're looking at right now. So we're running into the cloud. We could see a bump up, you know, sitting on top, and then ultimately decision-making time if we do something like this or something like this. That remains to be seen. I don't think we have enough information to conclusively argue either way. But this is good news for the cloud traders. I don't see anything that would, the volume consolidation doesn't say to me that we're just going to like plow through sideways to the Kumo and drop. But, you know, be prepared for anything that could totally happen. I'm personally expecting a bump up. If we look at something like the 250 EMAs, you know, we're still bullish on the weekly time frames here. So that's good. I mean, I say that with a grain of salt. You know, obviously this is not a bull market, but in terms of like the weekly time span, I don't see anything like outwardly bearish that's going to say we're just going to plummet through the Kumo. So I'm expecting a bump up, maybe to retest highs, maybe make a new high, and from there we can reevaluate. But on the lower time frames, it's not looking the best. And if we look at something like the Bollinger Bands, coinciding with the daily 250 EMAs, we're trending below it on the daily time frame. So if we look here, we're obviously finding resistance here now, which is decisively bearish. This is bearish. We do see Bollinger Bands expanding still, which means that the downward volatility isn't quite yet concluded. But, you know, if we're looking at the weekly time frame, we still have plenty of time to consolidate on the Bollinger Bands to push up. I think we have about 2 candles left on the weekly time frame before we run into that Kijun, the Kumo, you know, the cloud part of it. So all is not lost on the macro time frame. If we zoom in, if we clean this up a little bit and we put some stuff on our chart, like, oh, this is still Bitstamp, isn't it? So here's a couple interesting things going on here. If we look at the macro, oops, don't want to do that. If we look at the macro Fibonacci retracements, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, but watch these guys real quick. So we see the macro Fibonacci retracements here, starting from, you know, somewhere down here to somewhere up here, and we zoom in. So keep an eye on the bold guys here. We see that we, you know, ultimately during the last round of buying, you know, this round, we almost tested the 50, kind of fell short. Almost tested the 61, kind of fell short, and now we're kind of just like meandering in like no man's land. And I don't know why, but people on Twitter are saying that, you know, this isn't a falling wedge. Repeat after me, this isn't a falling wedge. Dude, to me, this looks like a fucking falling wedge. I don't know what criteria people are looking for to deem it a falling wedge, but this meets all the criteria in my book. Okay, so we see consolidating volume. We see, you know, a falling wedge shape. Boom. We see the breakout, and now we're seeing a retest right here. So if we zoom in a little closer, we can see the retest is very clean right now on the falling wedge. I don't know why people are saying that it's not, but you know, to each their own. But to me, that looks like a falling wedge, and now we're doing a hard retracement to retest the breakout. And you know, that just happens to coincide with the previous reaccumulation trading range right here. So you know, the reaccumulation trading range where we broke up. Okay. So right now I'm eyeballing a bounce off of here, which has, I think it's got $1,000 price movement. So if we do see upward movement here, we would see the low 9Ks. Jesus. 9,000s, low 9,000s. So, it would have us retesting up in here. On top of that, if we look at, the higher time frames like the 6 hour, inside of this falling wedge, which is like pretty common, not common, but well, I guess it is pretty common. When we see a falling wedge, it also coincides with an inverted head and shoulders. So, we see the falling wedge here. And then if we look closely here, we see, and let me make this a little bigger so we can see it. So we see the falling wedge here, obviously. And then we see this inverted head and shoulders thing, which is pretty common for a retest. So when you see a breakout, falling wedges, as Peter Brandt says, falling wedges are notorious for hard throwbacks, which is like right here. This is a very hard throwback. Obviously, we did a 100% retracement from the breakout, but it's making this inverted head and shoulders sort of thing. So if we do find support here and we do see a rally, short-term price target would be from this inverted head and shoulders, which would be, I don't know, let's measure it. What is this? This is, so that was a really straight line. So 8,900, and then this is what? 8,800. So, I didn't say 8,800, did I? 8,000. So I think it's like more like 8,100. So, it's like an 81, Jesus Christ, an $800 move. So $800 move from the breakout. So if this is the neckline, right here. So what is this? 8,500 plus 800. We could see again the low 9,000s. So we do see a bit of an argument for a short-term rally here. Overall volume is just like abysmal. And if we if we zoom back like historically, volume hasn't been this low since August. Right over here, it hasn't been this low since August. So that's just the state of where Bitcoin's at right now. It's this slow grinding bleed. Bulls are exhausted, bears are exhausted. I think in order to get another round of selling, we'll need to see higher highs. Perhaps that would be a good way for the trapped bulls to get out and might get enough fuel for a ride down. But in the medium term, I do see an argument for a push up rather than a push down. And when we look at the 2-hour time frame, this does have characteristics of a distribution like this thing, but we see consolidating volume again. So very interesting price activity. It's just loaded with bots that are stopping people out. It's just very choppy, very brutal. I'm really scaling back on the number of trades I'm making per day, and I'm sorry, per week. I've made one trade that got stopped out last night. I made one trade in the past 3 weeks. I have not traded in 3 weeks because the market has just been so fucking bad. I did long this breakout, got stopped out on the throwback. So now I'm just kind of waiting, just chilling. I'm long on Bitcoin because I'm on BitMEX, but I'm waiting to see how it interacts here. And if it goes upward, I might be looking for a short, somewhere up here. So, all right. Any questions about anything I just covered? Are you using regular Ichimoku settings? Yeah, I use default settings. Good morning, Bitcoin Schmitcoin. Is this still a fake distribution phase while Bitcoin whales accumulate? Not sure what you mean by that. Still longing Litecoin? Yeah. Yeah, I've had that long open for a while. I mean, I'm playing this on quarterly futures, so there's no rush for me. I'm not paying funding on it, so. But yeah, I'm long Litecoin, Bitcoin, and have been. You know, it's slightly underwater, but it's okay. If we look at the Litecoin Bitcoin chart, it's one of the few charts that I see that's like actually actionable right now. So I'm not going to go through a lot of the altcoins right now, just because they kind of all look like shit and they're all just kind of bleeding out. But Litecoin Bitcoin's holding up pretty well. You know, we do see this respect for the lower lows here. We aren't making lower lows, I should say. You know, we're kind of trending upward. And if we zoom closer on this price level here, we see that the volume is consolidating again, which means that it's the next, as soon as there's some bullish activity from Bitcoin, I think that Litecoin Bitcoin is going to see, you know, another jump. Maybe you know, maybe jump up to this price level here. I think everything down here is well accumulated. We're not making lower lows, which is characteristic of last point of supply. Last point of, I'm sorry, last point of support, or LPS. So, you know, we're kind of just like, you can basically think of it as like, this is a prolonged shakeout. And you can see here that that volume is going down, which means that supply is being absorbed at these lower values. So I think that the next level of support, if we push up, is going to be, you know, this guy, things above here. And this will become the new like lower low. You know, we did see a swell of volume here, which brought new sellers to the market, and they're clearly getting absorbed. You can see it here on the moving average that that the sells are getting absorbed here. You feel like we are more likely to break up than down? What, on Litecoin? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Litecoin is one of the better charts out there right now. I don't see this breaking down. I mean, it could. It obviously could, but I'm betting that it's not going to do that. Yeah, Litecoin is on a humongous accumulation. The hell? Oh, this is Binance. Yeah, this is like a nested accumulation right here inside of a larger accumulation phase. Have you looked at the charts on Binance? Seems like some super fake volume, for example. Look at the waves. I mean, this isn't unique to Binance. If we look at, you know, if we look at Bitfinex, it's the same volume profile, the exact same thing. So we see supply absorption here. We're making higher lows. So I don't see anything unique to Binance that says to me it's manipulation or anything. And if we look at the higher time frame, you know, this looks like a giant accumulation phase. So couldn't we break the support line on Litecoin and go for lower lows if Bitcoin continues downward? Yeah, this is Litecoin Bitcoin. This isn't Litecoin USD. That's not what he meant. Some coins have volume manipulation. Okay, but what does it have to do with this chart? It seems kind of irrelevant. I mean, I can't conclusively say whether Binance is wash trading or not. So all I know is that this looks like a prolonged accumulation, a very fucking long, prolonged accumulation, over a year at this point, since last April. So a year and a month, a year and 2 months almost. I see a lot of people speculating about wash trading and bots and stuff like that, and I don't particularly like to engage in those sort of conversations just because I don't find them to be productive. What are you going to do with that information, even if it is true? I don't see the point in like even humoring those discussions. Are you going to trade any differently if those things are true? Are you bored of the markets? Dude, I'm super bored of the markets. I'm so bored. They're very fucking boring. And to be honest with you, like, part of me feels like that this is what the beginning of capitulation feels like. People are just, people are just like, fuck it. Like, I don't care. Just like, I just want to get out of this. And if we got like a really strong round of selling, I'm sure there'd be a lot of people that are just like, fuck it. I'll take my loss. I don't care. Just let me move on with my life. Because I mean, if we look at this volume here on Bitcoin, for example, I mean, it is just like bone dry. Like, no one wants to do a damn thing one way or the other. People just don't give a shit. I'm noticing people are capitulating, even the price being the same. Yeah, people are capitulating even with zero price activity. They're just exhausted. People don't care. I mean, it's been going on for almost 6 months now. I'm just getting your taint handed to you. And I think people are they just want to move on with their lives and remove, their exposure to the market. So it wouldn't surprise me if people are just like eating losses and just wanting to get out of the market. Which is a sign of accumulation, believe it or not. People are just getting ground to pieces. And you can see it with this volume profile here. The cloud on BTC USD 1 week twisted and turned red. Okay, let's look at it. Oh, look at that. It does have a little twist. A baby little twist. We are very far away from the Kijun, by the way. We haven't tested the Kijun in 2 months. And we're finding support on the Tenkan, so if we retested the Kijun, that would push us up above the cloud. This isn't the most bearish thing in the world. This is like a little micro twist. So, I mean, we did have a weak bearish cross several weeks ago, but I mean, this is just a slow bleed, guys. Yeah. I mean, there is this little thing that's going on, this little meme. You know, there's this symmetrical triangle thing that people are really fixated on. It's like this. You know, we see the, and this is definitely a thing, you know, don't get me wrong. I'm just shitting on the memers out there. But, you know, we see something like this where we have yet to test the bottom of this. So this is, if the cloud does push us up, God damn it, let me just draw a line on here. If the cloud does push us up, I expect this to be a point of interest, whether it's bullish or bearish. I expect it to be a point of interest, because if the mega bears want to set up the bulls for a the fuck did my pen go? Here we go. If the mega bears want to set up the bulls for a bull trap, this would be the place to do it. So if we rally up, you know, we break out here, we see a false breakout, and then we come back down. This would be a great place to do it. So if we do see a push upward, I expect this to be a place of great fuckery, and fake outs and traps. So be careful. So this is really interesting too. So if we zoom in on the 6 hour on the falling wedge, I think this is like right near our price target. Yeah. So, you know, the low 9,000s here would have us reaching the, that little symmetrical triangle upper boundary sort of thing. So this is going to be a high point of interest in my opinion. So I see a really strong case, not a really strong case, but like I see a case that it could come up and retest the top of this trend line up there. What do you think the bottom is? I think absolute worst case scenario, you know, I have this labeled here. This is, if Bitcoin hits this, this is my signal to go buy up all the corn I can, would be this price level right here. Historically, Bitcoin has done 78% retracements at the maximum. So 78% would be here. I don't want that. I want you. So if we do, you know, the fib set from here to here, 78% would be right here. And if we look at, you know, historical runs, that lines up really, God, that wick, Jesus Christ. It lines up really well with this guy right here. Okay. Oh wait, I need to look at Bitstamp, don't I? This chart looks like dog shit. BTC. So if we look at all the parabolic blow-offs, the most they usually hit is the 78. So we see a 61 down here, we see a 78, we see a 78, and then we see, really I need to expand this to the bottom, don't I? And then we see, you know, approximately a 78 down here. So that's what I'm expecting here. If this like really goes like full blown bear town, then that's where I would expect to find support. And there's also just a confluence of support here. So if we do the, there's a 161% fib extension here from this bear fib set. Where is it? Oh, did I delete? Okay, sorry. Let me do that. So if we go here, there's a 161% fib extension that is like right on the money here. So very strong support. This will be a point of interest, of course, but I really don't like those questions of like, where do you see the bottom? I don't know, man. If I knew where the bottom was, I wouldn't be trading. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. If we look at the traditional markets, like S&P, for example, we do see some bullish activity happening. Let's look at these two guys right here. So these are daily candles, and this is a 4-hour chart. You know, both. Oh, here it is labeled. Both Dow Jones and S&P broke north of their consolidation patterns, and they're pushing new highs here. So these charts look good, man. The stock market looks set up for a nice continuation of the uptrend, which in my opinion is going to bleed over to the crypto markets. So I don't buy that there's not a connection between the crypto markets and the traditional markets. I don't see why there wouldn't be a connection. That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So this bullish activity, you know, might give us a little bit of oomph, a little pep in our step to get us to retest the top of the weekly cloud. So a lot of things in the bull's corner right now. Of course, the trend is down for the bears. So trend is your friend. Do what you want, but that's just my opinion. People in crypto yeah. Okay. So this guy says people in crypto generally seem more educated in market cycles now. Yeah, they are. Because I think they're realizing that you can't just draw a fucking triangle everywhere and make a boatload of cash just because it makes a goddamn triangle. I fully expect that on the next bull market, whenever that is, the next like stupid run, whenever that comes, there will be another flood of crypto know-it-alls that will start drawing triangles everywhere, and we'll get shitloads of followers on Twitter and all that. And I'm sure they'll start their own. There'll be 12-year-olds running hedge funds again and all that sort of shit. The crypto hedge funds, quote unquote, where they guarantee 14% a day or whatever the fuck they say. So. Aren't market cycles the first thing you learn about in market/trading, or do people actually think markets are either perma-bull or perma-bear? I think there are a lot of people that just, I know when I first started trading, I didn't understand market cycles. You know, I learned that myself. But, you know, John Bollinger started talking about it on Twitter. And so it got me really, really like super interested in market cycles and really wanting to nail down market cycles because, yeah, you know, I'm still learning. I'm not like this fucking elite level Wyckoff guy, but I do find it interesting. And I do find it useful. So I'm always deferring to that rather than being like, here's a triangle, goes up or goes down, because I think this market right now over the past 5 months is just showing how vulnerable the crypto market really is. People started thinking it was invincible, and they started thinking that, you know, this is a different kind of market. It doesn't behave like stocks. And at the end of the day, it fucking does, guys. This is an asset with human beings trading it, and greed and all that other sort of psychology nested into it. So I think this is hopefully an eye-opener for people who didn't take profit on the last bull run. I hope that on the next bull run they do. But you know, greed is a hell of a drug. You know, you can't fix everyone, you know. I think due to the amount of people that got involved in the last parabolic run that haven't learned their lessons at the top, that we won't see a parabolic trend like it again. I don't agree with that. My chair's getting extra squeaky. It seems now it's about who has the widest pain threshold tolerance. Yeah, I agree. Or who's the most patient, really. I mean, you don't have to trade. You don't have to be you don't have to be putting money on the line in this market. Like trading in here is just the road to heartbreak. Anyway, do you guys have any questions about any of this stuff? I've been trying to write more Bitcoin magazine articles. I think that is a good medium to communicate with people. And some people seem to respond to it. I get a lot more like fake accounts that like fuck with me whenever I start writing Bitcoin magazine articles. And I think they're bots that are, you know, they're bots that just spit out, you know, like hate and shit. I don't know why. I don't know why people do it. I suspect they're some sort of like disinformation campaigns going on. But you know, if you guys want to stay in contact with me, you can always check out my Discord, and you can access that by going to bitcoinschmitcoin.com. Okay. I do want to talk about this. So I'm starting to put together, very slowly, mind you, because this market is just boring me to tears. So I'm trying to think of things that are going to keep my interest. Well, it's just slow as fuck. I'm starting to put together a video series, basically like something like 2 to 5 minute videos where I really break down like the most simple of concepts. I was doing the technical tip Tuesdays for a while, or for a few days, for a few Tuesdays. And I didn't really like that as much because there's just too much nuance with the different indicators. And I don't really trade much on the indicators myself these days. You know, like typical indicators like MACD, RSI, SRSI. I don't really trade those that much. I have a very simple strategy of just using Bollinger Bands and volume. And every now and then I'll reference the cloud on the higher time frames, but for intraday trading, I just keep it really simple. So what I'm starting to do, I've made like 3 videos so far. I haven't released them yet, but I'm releasing stuff like like what is a candle, for example. Like what does a candle show? What information can we learn from a candle? What is volume? What does volume tell you? What sort of information can we gather by combining candle spread and volume activity? And from there, we'll build a nice foundation to build, a big, beautiful house, where hopefully you can make Bitcoin in this house by having a nice firm foundation. So, and that's going to be put up on my website on bitcoinschmitcoin.com. I'm trying to make my website more of a reference tool as well. I don't think there's a very good repository out there of just like really simple explanations. Stock charts is okay. I find it pretty annoying to go through stock charts sometimes just because they, I don't know, like, I don't learn very, very well from stock charts. And I think sometimes it helps just to hear someone's voice when they're explaining something. So that's the goal. That's the best way that I've learned, is from watching other people trade and explain things. So hopefully that'll be a great tool for everyone else. But yeah, you know, like I said, it's going to be from like the most simple to more complex ideas like trading ranges, things like that. And of course, there'll be side topics like momentum, like principles of momentum, what divergence really shows, Bollinger Bands, things like that. I really want to steer away from using things that are concrete, like oscillators. I don't really like oscillators all that much. Some people are very successful trading them. I'm starting to steer away from them. So anyway, stay tuned for that. I'll be updating you guys as that progresses. But yeah, that'll be on my website. And if you want to join my trading community, go to bitcoinschmitcoin.com, where you sign up there, and that's where I'll be posting the videos there. They won't be on YouTube. They'll be on my website. Your info repository sounds good. I agree. Thanks. Holding any tether. Don't want to swap tether until they're par. No, I'm not holding any tether. I'm holding Bitcoin right now. Is really what I'm holding. Bitcoin and like a few smaller positions. So. Anyway, so that's all I got for you guys. We'll go ahead and wrap this up. Again, keep an eye out for this bounce off of this falling wedge. And on the macro scale, keep an eye on that 1 week cloud on the default settings. I think that'll be a point of interest to keep in mind. But for now, I think I'm going to go do something productive with my life, because staring at these charts is boring me to tears. But you guys have a great rest of your day. Don't stare at the charts too long. Set price alarms, man. Don't be staring at these charts. Not only is a bear market taking a toll on people's wallets, it's going to take a toll on your brain power. So, don't let it get the best of you guys. Okay? Stay tuned for the updates. And again, go to bitcoinschmitcoin.com if you want to join the trading community. All right. Bye.